Mortal Shell is a game. Yeah, that's it. End of video. Bye. Okay, in all honesty, Mortal Shell is very mixed for me. There are some things in this game that I like and think are unique, but they are definitely lacking in other departments. So let's not waste time and jump right into it. So of course, let's start with the positives. I think the shell mechanic is pretty cool and unique. I mean, it's literally the selling point of the game. And you also have 4 possible weapons that you can choose from. This way you can change your playstyle throughout the game. For my playthrough, I mainly use Solomon with the hammer and chisel. I also like that the game gives you another chance when you actually die by just returning to your shell. The game itself looks really nice. I like the look of enemies and bosses, although some are extremely basic. To be honest, most are in my opinion. If you want to wind down, you can also play the guitar. I don't know why, I just wrote it down and thought that's a positive, I guess. And the game has multiple endings, or at least 2 that I can remember, and one is sort of a secret ending. And yeah, my final positive point, or actually a more mixed point, is that the difficulty of this game is very accessible for a Souls-like game. However, this can also be seen as a negative, as the game isn't really hard or anything, and when you get the special ability of your weapon, you just annihilate bosses. Another more mixed point that I wanted to bring up was the combat. At first, I really disliked it because it felt very slow and, I don't know, floaty or something. Like there was some delay. I don't really know how to correctly describe it, but after getting the hammer and chisel, I kind of got used to it. So take this however you want, but to be completely honest, if there wasn't a faster weapon in the game, like the hammer and chisel, I would probably not have finished the game. So yeah, it actually leans more towards something negative, which brings me to my next segment. Oh, and by the way, discovering items is a cool idea, but it also has some more negative impact on the gaming experience. I mean, it's cool and more realistic that you don't know what the things are you consume, but it kind of makes you a bit hesitant of consuming items. Like, what if you waste it? Or what if it kills you? Or what if it's really limited and you can only get one? So yeah, in terms of realism, this is a very nice feature. In terms of consuming it and actually using it, I'm personally not a big fan of it and didn't use most items. Okay, now we will go to the negatives. So the first negative is the game world. Okay, don't get me wrong, I still think it looks cool, but everything looks the same except for one other area. It took me a very long time to kind of know the layout of the map. For example, at one point I was just walking in circles trying to find the dungeon near the beds. And they show these instincts, but they don't really make it clear. Yeah, of course, eventually you'll know where to go. Still, in my opinion, most parts of the map just look identical. Enemy variety is also very limited. You'll have like 3 different types of enemies in the first 2 dungeons. Oh, but some have different weapons. Yeah, I don't give a shit. They are the same. So combat becomes boring pretty quickly and it gets worse. Because when you kill a boss, this fog appears and boom, you are suddenly spammed with these annoying stupid ass jumping enemies that have some kind of vampire kink and bite your neck. Yeah, again, I just ran. I don't care. And one dungeon actually has some variety in enemies, but at that point I couldn't care less. Which brings me to my next point, bosses. So yeah, simply put, bosses are boring as hell. There are 4 bosses I encountered, and you have Hadern as a kind of boss for the weapons. But as I said before, when you get the special ability of your weapon, these bosses are so extremely easy. I died once, and that was during the final boss. Next to that, the bosses don't feel special or anything. They feel like regular enemies. I think the ice boss was the most original, and the final boss was just, oh, this dude only has like 3 attacks, so let's spawn some annoying ass spirits or whatever to make it quote unquote harder. So yeah, I have one little negative left, but that's really a nitpick, so it's nothing big or anything, and that's the dodge. Tap dodge once and you get a Bloodborne dodge, tap dodge twice and you get a dodge roll like in Dark Souls. I don't know, it sometimes felt like the Bloodborne dodge was just not enough, so I had to dodge twice, which takes up a shit ton of stamina. Again, it's a nitpick, but something that was definitely noticeable. Apparently there's also a story. Don't ask me what it's about. I have no clue and can't remember anything about the story. Maybe something that your shell wants to send to somewhere. I have no clue. But to be honest, I was never really interested in knowing the story. Overall enjoyment and rating. I beat the game in around 6 hours. Talking about enjoyment, I would say that there were certainly moments where I thought this game is pretty enjoyable, I guess. And there were moments where I thought, what a f***ing waste of time. But I never thought, damn, this game is pretty good. As I said before, during the final dungeon I was like, yeah, I've seen it all, and just ran past everything. The saddest thing is that this dungeon has the most variety in enemies and a different overall style. However, at that point I just wanted to finish the game. I didn't care anymore. So again, if you want to play this game, I'd recommend getting it on a big sale, because in my opinion it's not worth the full price tag. If you really want me to give this a rating, I'd probably say like a 5 out of 10, maybe even a 4 at certain points. It's really just mediocre at best. So yeah, this was my short review of Mortal Shell, which took way too long to make. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please watch another video, like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. By the way, I'm also working on a new Elden Ring challenge run. Okay.